Okay, so you've learned about factors, you've learned about multiples. So now we're just going to talk about kind of, which I talked about in our other videos, but we're going to talk about how they are related to each other. Okay, so remember, factors are the numbers that you multiply to get to another number. So the factors of 10, 1 times 10, so factor, 1 and 10 are factors, and you get 10. More factors of 10 would be 2 and 5. So the factors of 10 are 1, 2, 5, and 10. They're the numbers that we would multiply to make 10. The multiples of 10 are numbers that we make when we multiply by 10. So remember I told you, you write over here. Remember whenever I write, you should be writing, if your teacher were to check your journal, they should be able to pull up my video at the end and see the exact same writing on your page that they would see on mine. Okay, so a factor times a factor equals a multiple, okay? So your multiples, so we said the factors of 10, 1, 10, 2, 5. Your multiples of 10 would be, when you multiply 10, your answers. So 0 times 10, 0. That's a multiple. 1 times 10, 10. That's another multiple of 10. So you can see the relationship. So the 1 and 10 over here are factors. They give us a multiple over here. So let's do 12, okay? So first we're going to come up with the factors, okay? So how do we make 12? So we'll do the factors one color. So we could do 1 times 12. That's our first set of factors, right? And 1 times 12, if we follow it over, gives us a multiple of 12, right? Oh, I forgot 0. What was I thinking? So let's go ahead. We'll put it under here. 0 times 12. That's another factor pair that would give us a multiple of 0. Then we could do 2 because it's an even number. 2 times 6. And then we get, and so that's the only ones that, these ones over here are the only multiples. Now 2 times 6 is 12. So these are the numbers that make 12, remember? So 1 times 12, 0 times 12. Now 2 times 6 makes 12, right? But we'll come back for more multiples later. And then 3 times 4 is another way to make 12. Now if we're going to keep going over here with our multiples, remember we're going to do, so this one was 0 times 12. This one is 1 times 12, so let's do 2 times 12. We'll get 24. 3 times 12 is 36. 4 times 12 is 48. So you can see 12 is the factor over here, and that's why these first two worked, but these ones are the ways that we make 12, okay? Factors of 20, we could do 1 and 20. We could do 2 and 10. No, 3. We do 4 and 5. Now remember, once we get to where we're repeating numbers, like if we were going to do 5 times 4, we stop. We don't need to repeat numbers because we already got them. So here's our factors. And again, here's our factor pairs, right? Now for multiples, let's do our skip counting. So we're multiplying. 0 times 20 equals 0. 1 times 20. Oh, we can use our, remember how back with multiplication we did multiples of like 10? So 1 times 2 is 2, and then we add a 0. If we do 2 times 20, let's see another multiple of 20. So 2 times 2 is 4, and then we add a 0. 3 times 20, it'd be 3 times 2 is 6, and then we add a 0 because we have 1 0 over here. Okay, let's do one more. 4 times 20 equals 4 times 2 is 8, and then we add that 0, and we've got 80. Sorry, that's kind of messy. So again, the factors are the numbers that we're multiplying. So all of these, when we multiply them, we get an answer of 20, whereas all of these are multiples. The 20 is a factor. Okay, right there. All right, let's do 3. Our factors of 3, we're going to do 1 times 3 and get 3. Is there any other way to make 3? We can't do a 2. We could do 3 times 1, but we don't repeat, right? So the only way that we can do it is 3, which means it is prime, which again, we are going to talk about later, but I'm just letting you know. The only way we can do is that. Now multiples are what we can multiply with and make with that number. So 0 times 3 equals 0. 0 times, oh, not 0, geez Louise. 1 times 3 is 3. 2 times 3 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9. 4 times 3 is 12. So these are all multiples of 3. They're numbers that when you multiply times 3, you will get. But the only factors of 3 are 1 and 3, which is what makes it a prime number. Okay, let's go over here to 6. Okay, our factors of 6. So we're going to do 1 times 6. And then if we do, let's see, 2 times 3, we'll get 6. Let's see, what about 3? Oh, we already have 3, so that means we're done with that one. And there's more than one way, so it's not prime. Okay, now multiples, we start with 0. So 0 times 6, 0. 1 times 6 is 6. 2 times 6 is 12. 3 times 6 is 18. 4 times 6 is 24. And remember, we could go on forever. Now, I told you this one is prime. A number can only be 2 things. It can either be prime or it can be composite. So since this one, we can make it using more than 1 and 6, it's composite. Don't worry about it now. That was just like a sneak preview of what's to come. Okay? And remember, this could go on forever. So if you want to know, you go on forever, that's infinity. So not infinity like the computer game we use, just it's infinite. Okay? All right, factors of 25. So we could do 1 times 25, right? We could do, let's see, we can't, it's odd, so we can't do 2. 3, I know 3 times 7 is 21. 3 times 8 would be 24, so it's not 3. 4 times 6 is 24, so it can't be 4. Oh, it's 5. 5 times 5. So those are our 2 factor pairs for 25. And both of those equal 25, because remember, a factor times a factor makes a multiple. Now with our multiples, we're just doing 25. So our first one is always 0, the easiest one. And then the second easiest one is when we multiply times 1. So 25 times 1 is 25. Then you can just think about your quarters, right? So if you have 2 quarters, you have 50 cents. And then 25 times 3 is 75, right? And then 25 times 4 is 100. And then we could keep going forever and ever, okay? So let's go on to 7. The factors of 7. Oh, the only way, so that means it is another prime number, because the only way we can make it is by doing 1 times 7 or 7 times 1. But those are still the same, and it still is prime even if you flip it. Multiples, let's do it. So 0 times 7 equals 0. That's our first multiple. 1 times 7 is 7. 2 times 7 is 14. 3 times 7 is 21. 4 times 7 is 28. So if we come down here, these are all the multiples of 7, and then these are the factors right there, okay? All right, 8. Our factors of 8, we can do 1 times 8 and make 8. We can do 2 times 4. Can we do anything with 3? Nope. And then we end up with 4 times 2. So remember, when we start repeating numbers, then we stop. So here are our factors. And we can list them like that. Or remember, we can do it in like how we did it on our page. So we go 1, 2, 4, 8. Okay. And then for our multiples, here we go. What do we start with? 0. So 0 times 8 equals 0. 1 times 8, 8. 2 times 8 equals 16. 3 times 8, 24. And we could just go forever. So your factors of 8 are right there, 1, 8, 2, 4. Your multiples are your answers, just like that, okay? And we can point an arrow if you need to. Last one, 5. So your factors of 5, oh, it's another one. 1 times 5 is 5. That's the only way to make it unless you flip it, which that's the same. So we've got another prime number, okay? And then our multiples, here we go. 0 times 5 is 0. 1 times 5 is 5. 2 times 5, equals 10. 3 times 5 equals 15. And again, you could go on forever. You also could use your skip counting method, okay? So just remember that a factor times a factor is a multiple. Your multiples are your answers. Your factors are what you multiplied to make your multiple. So remember this part, okay?